Hey guys, just broadcasting to you here from my messy garage. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. Um, Especially hard to keep it clean with a little family here. Um, but anyway, just trying to catch up on some videos for you guys. Just gonna talk about a few topics that been crossing my mind lately. Just kind of giving my opinion on them. Um, my opinion's always subject to change. Also, I'm always open to new ideas, and just trying to tell you guys what I think about it. So, if you do have a comment, I'd appreciate it, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. So, with that, we'll get started here. As you might know, I work down at the hardware store now, selling guns. So I get a lot of guys coming in, um, especially, it's early November right now. So rifle season, opening day here in Wisconsin is going to be in a few weeks. And we get a lot of guys coming in looking for, that box of ammo, or they need to pick up a rifle for son or daughter, or, what have you. And it has kind of shocked me how many guys have come in looking for a sidearm for protection out here in the woods, Wisconsin. Um, I, I kind of feel bad saying it, but I really don't think you need that in Wisconsin. Um, I guess just the Midwest in general. I don't really know what you're worried about. When I kind of mentioned that to these guys, the number one thing that I hear is, we got a lot of bears. We got black bears, and that's what they're worried about. And most of the time, these guys aren't even up in northern Wisconsin. Once you get up north, you got wolves, and that's some stuff I can understand there. But I've been black bear hunting. I've harvested black bears before. I've spent time around bears. You really don't need to worry about these black bears. Half the time they're juvenile anyway. I understand if it's a mom and cubs, that's kind of a different story. But especially this time of year, too, if they're not denned up already, they're nice and big and fat, and the young are usually relatively old enough to not necessarily fend for themselves, but mom isn't as big of a protector of them. But yeah, I just think it's kind of crazy. These guys are so worried about bears. It's been a few too, coming in looking for 9 millimeter or 45, and man, it just surprised the hell out of me that they're that worried about it. That's not really in a black bear's playbook to be going after humans. I think if you're heading out west, and you're going to be going into grizzly country, it's a different story. And even then, the facts show what's a handgun going to do at the end of the day anyway. You still gotta have the time to pull it out. If you got an animal charging at you that fast, you gotta put those bullets right where they count, and that's a lot to ask in the moment. I think if a lot of guys, if they don't freeze up, it happens so fast that they don't have time to react anyway. Listening to the Meat Eater podcast, those guys had a run in with a grizzly, and I think a few of them were armed, and I think they all had bear spray, and none of that stuff was deployed. You don't ever expect to get attacked. So I think when you're out west, that's a different story. You got to have your protocol, and you just got to stick to it, and that's what you do, and that's what you do every time, and that's going to keep you safe. No strain from the plan there. As far as being in Wisconsin, a few of the things that cross my mind is, one, like I said, I don't think a black bear is trying to eat you anyway. Most of the time, they're more afraid of you than you are of them, and they're usually 2 miles, down the road once they hear you coming before you'd even see them anyways. So black bears really aren't anything to worry about. And the other thing, if they were to come at you, I think it would be so fast that you probably wouldn't have time to react anyway. It's not like you're gonna step out into a cut cornfield and then this black bear is going to charge you from 200 yards away, and you're going to have time to line up a shot with your 45 and take them out. I also think that you're going to have quite a bit of explaining to do to the DNR if you shoot a black bear during rifle season in Wisconsin. It's just not the kind of thing that happens around here. The other thing is, like I said, don't you have a rifle on you anyway? I mean, you need to have a rifle and you need to have a 45 in your pocket. You're kind of walking the line between trying to be a badass and, just going out in the woods and enjoying yourself. If you're that afraid to walk out in the woods and get attacked by a black bear in Wisconsin, then maybe you shouldn't be out hunting anyways. I'm not trying to attack anyone here. It kind of sounds like that. I just think it's a little ridiculous. I had the same guys tell me about, cougars or mountain lions being where they hunt, and that they're thinking that they're going to pull their 45 out on a cougar that attacks, while they have their rifle in their hand. So, if you want to tell me how that's going to work out anyways, so you're walking through the woods with your rifle either in your hand or, over your shoulder, let's say. You're walking down the trail, cougar jumps on your back, bites your neck, and you're going to then pull your 45 out and shoot behind your head, or what are you going to do there? Because, cougars like to ambush you when you're not expecting it and, grab onto the back of your neck and basically game over from there. So I don't really understand how any firearm is going to help you at that point anyway. And I don't even know if anyone's even been killed by a cougar in Wisconsin before. So another one of those things. Just go out in the woods and enjoy yourself. Don't be worried about what's going to get you, especially in a place like Wisconsin. I think that you should just enjoy and respect knowing that those animals are out on the landscape. I hunt up north in Wisconsin too, and we've got to deal with wolves up there. And it can be a little eerie, when you're walking, especially when it's dark out, and you're walking out to your stand or whatever, and you hear some howling or some footsteps, like the mind starts racing, and you get some pretty weird images in your head. But that's all part of the gig here. That's what we do as outdoorsmen. Just think of the mountain men back in the day, what they had to deal with. There probably was grizzlies in Wisconsin back then. And all they had was their black powder, rifle that may or may not fire anyway. So I think in today's day and age, you don't need to be worrying about those things so much. Like I said, if you're heading out west, I think you should have a good plan. If you know that you're going to be heading into bear country. But in Wisconsin here, I mean, don't waste your money on buying $1,000 45 down at the hardware store, because you just don't need it. At that point, you're just trying to look cool, and you might end up getting hurt. It's just one more thing to think about. You really don't need two firearms out there in the woods. I think it can just lead to more issues if you're packing more heat than you need to be for the job you have at hand. So with that, I'll sign off on my little rant here, and hopefully you guys have some comments for me.